Hi, everyone. We're back.
Woo!
We just watched Emma. We are not going to the theaters anymore
Yeah.
because of quarantine and everything. But we're sick of not reviewing movies. So
Yeah.
we're back at it. Oh, we got multiple cameras now. What? Crazy. Can't do that at the mall.
Yeah. I think the theaters are opening
That's
up
the
soon.
image you chose.
It was the one from the trailer. I don't even know if they could see it.
I don't know if they can either.
She's making a face.
I think the
We
theaters
saw
are opening
Emma.
up soon. Restaurants should open this week.
Yeah.
Let's get to the movie.
Yes.
Emma. That was weird.
It was a weird one.
That was super weird. Um,
I wish I had more to say. Like, at a certain point, it's just a taste thing. Like, I'm just not going to be as interested in this kind of movie as
yeah,
other
I
people.
felt like it felt like a book that was made by other people who tried to pull parts of a book together to just like make the story visually. But I mean, I would rather read the book. That doesn't matter. It could have been made good by the right people, I think. I think anything could really be made good, but I just didn't care about anyone pretty early on. I didn't care about the story or the characters.
You don't think that was as good as it could have been for like what it was?
No.
Okay.
There was not a lot of. I know I'm gonna get shit because it's a Jane. You said it's a Jane Austen novel. From this movie, there was no depth to the story. There was no like multi-layered meaning. There was no commentary on people, who we are.
Not
It
really.
was,
I think there was trying to be in like terms of class and gender, but it was just super flat and like
it had no depth.
no.
It was
it
really
didn't.
flat. And it's even the fact that it said the novel was a comedy.
Yeah.
That made it better than something like when we saw Little Women
Yeah.
that took itself seriously and wasn't good.
Mhm.
So I'd rather it be this, but it wasn't, it wasn't funny enough to be a comedy. It wasn't really good enough to be that meaningful.
Yeah.
It fell short in a lot of areas. It's not even like bad enough to be like, this is a horrible movie, don't go see it.
No.
It's not even really that noteworthy. Oh, I guess that comes back to what you said, where you're just the wrong person for it. Like,
Yeah.
if you enjoy it, go enjoy it. I got nothing against you, but
I can imagine people really enjoying this. Like when we're having a conversation halfway through, like, so who was that guy, and like, why does it matter? Why are they talking about this? Like all that
Yeah.
stuff, I can see someone, if you were interested, then like they did that well.
Yeah.
But we just were not interested. It
Yeah.
just didn't make any sense. Like why anyone cared about anything. It just felt like drama for the sake of silly drama.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I'd rather, at least it was kind of fun. you
Yeah.
know?
I had more fun as it went along.
Yeah.
And we just came to this stupid story. It was like, okay, let's try and get into like
Yeah.
their dumb little world.
Yeah. But it was a very small world, which like
Yeah.
might be charming in a novel, but in a movie it's just uncinematic and really boring.
Yeah, and this movie had that problem of where I wasn't given enough to even believe that the world was there.
Yeah.
And it's weird how like rating movies on a scale of 0 to 10, it's more like there's like these like epochs you can get to that completely change whether it's like now a buyable as a movie, like a tier list of movies. So this one didn't even get into the tier of like, well, the world is actually there, now let me criticize the world. The production did not let me believe that this world was actually happening. And you can make a really silly movie and really over the top and still have me believe that within this world, like, it all exists and it's going on. But it's just so clear to me, this is a set with actors pretending to be this way. And this movie did that a lot the whole time.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they had such amazing sets. Like they had for like that era and those costumes and that setting, like they had the best version of all of that. Is it working?
Yeah.
Like they had the best sets. So you would think like the world is the one thing that they get right, but I think it was like the characters in the world that like made it unbelievable. Like there wasn't enough of people like having to deal with this world or seeing like normal people in it. Like no one was normal and no one made sense except for Emma, and that was really like the actors selling it. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
if the movie's not gonna have that character that's normal, I feel like I wish we could think of an example. What's an example where the whole world was like that and it just added to it. It was just funny.
Like Jeff Winger, kind of.
Yeah, that show always brought itself out.
Yeah, that was the point of it.
Community Greendale was silly, but the show was always the characters were always very aware of how ridiculous their world was.
I can't think of another movie.
The amount of humanity in
Right.
it, like where this had no humanity. It was
No.
like watching aliens with no personalities.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of another movie, but in this movie, that woman that she like said that really horrible thing to, that was just funny, but that she was like mean to, like in any other movie, that the way that got handled would have just been super different. Like they would have just been human about it, but they weren't, because they were like all these weird. I don't know if it was trying to be like, look at the way class impacts people and like how it changes the way they behave, or if it was just trying to make you stay on Emma's side. I don't totally know what the point of it was, but it wasn't a human response to that whole situation. Was not the way people behave, and I don't think it was back then either. Like it didn't seem believable, you know.
No.
Not that she would still like love and respect Emma after that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, one of the
like, oh, you're just rich and you look down on me. Like that's what that would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, and it didn't make sense.
Yeah, and they brushed. I mean, she did get shit for it, and that was like the dark point of the movie.
Yeah.
But
it was about her relationship with the guy.
Yeah.
Not the girl.
Yeah, and
the woman.
Those parts where it is about class and people interacting with each other in that space on that playing field, it's still like not really like we don't get visuals of her poverty.
Right.
We don't get visuals of anyone's.
When it did cut to her house, her niece was like playing piano for her, and she was like in a window, like
That's
there was no visual representations of it that meant anything to us.
Didn't look like differences of class that was visually compelling that helped us understand both of their humanity. It was all.
You're right.
Kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
So
I guess
It was simple and silly and not very meaningful. I thought the script, some of it was funny. The dialogue was funny, but the scenes themselves, one after the other, are all boring in sequence.
Yeah.
Like it's just a boring story, even though they had some funny things in there and some possibilities of being interesting. But I feel like this world and this kind of story, maybe it even really worked in the novel. And I bet it did because she's a great writer. So I bet in some context, something like this would work. But as far as the project they put together for the 2019 remake of Emma starring these people, they didn't like try and readopt something and make something new. They just put the scenes after each other and told the story. And it was just kind of flat and not very interesting.
Yeah, and just weird.
Super weird. Super weird. It got to a point where I liked the weirdest guy the most because he was the most of that world. It's weird when that happens.
Yeah.
But, like, he was the worst off the bat because he was so creepy and weird.
Wait, are you talking about? Yeah.
And that guy.
Yeah.
And then when he
Mr.
was like in the
Elliot.
car with her, I was like, he's so weird that he's now my favorite because he's so over the top.
Yeah.
God, his dialogue made us really laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah. The nosebleed scene didn't make sense.
And that was part of the shooting, the way that, like what you pointed out.
Yeah.
Like they didn't cut to the wide and then have the music boom and then have the walking away and then have the visuals like make sense for what she's going through, which is like windy and she's running.
Yeah.
Instead, like it all happened in 2 close-ups and the music was like telling you what was going on.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing
And then
else
it
was.
cut and she was slowly walking up to the guy's house, and none of it really built in a cinematic way.
No.
And then they never even dealt with the couple that ran off. We never saw them again. It was just his aunt died, and he was like, sweet, I'm actually engaged to this girl. And
Yeah.
there was no closure.
No.
I did care about the
But
story
we,
a little.
I did have some fun just watching
Yeah.
it with you. I'm glad we didn't see it in theaters, but we had to take it seriously.
Yeah.
I'd rather be able to
Honestly,
go get Oreos.
if we had
like
watched
did.
Little Women here, we probably would have liked it a lot more.
Yeah, probably. That's a funny point.
Yeah.
We probably would have had like a good time. It'd been like, dude, Little Women was fun.
Yeah.
But we saw it in a theater where it really took itself seriously, and we were like, this is a romantic comedy. What's going on?
Yeah. And the blocking was super weird in that movie. None of it made sense on a big screen, but I could actually see it kind of working here.
Yeah.
It's just a small little thing.
Yeah. But I had fun to a certain extent, but it's not really that fun.
We had fun laughing at
dads.
it, but I don't know. If you like this kind of movie, it was a fun
Yeah.
version of it.
Jacob was my favorite character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his actual name?
I don't know. There was
Mr.
like
Knightley.
we called them Team Edward and Team Jacob.
Yeah.
Because one of the guys that she was gonna be with, but it was like the other guy she should be with.
Yeah. But
And
we
I
had
liked
it
him. He
flipped.
just started calling her out. That was cool.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a fun
That felt like,
relationship moment between
Yeah.
them. They were the only two characters that mattered.
Yeah.
Like,
and I just love her face.
yeah, her face is really
Such a
good.
face.
Yeah, the whole story was just built around them. Like, every problem was a problem between them, and like her friend at the end, like, she was mean to her friend, and it was a problem between her and the guy. And then her friend was nice to her, but fell in love with the guy, and it was a problem between her and the guy. Like, it just kept,
Mm-hmm.
like, there was no growth for her either. She just ended up with the guy that she didn't want. It's
That was
just
the guy
like-
you first introduced to me as. It's just some guy.
Yeah, yeah.
God, that was so funny.
Levi had a hard time keeping track
I-
of all the guys.
I had
and
a
the
really hard
names.
time keeping track of everyone.
Yeah, that's something that in a book would make a lot more sense, where they
Yes.
just
They just-
name characters that you haven't seen and might not see at some point, and
They-
expect you to know
They
who
were just
everyone
all
is.
standing around talking like bullshit about the people, and I would just
Yeah.
turn to you at the end of the scene and be like, "So what happened?" You're like, she doesn't like him because she wants him to marry her. But no, that's their estate. Who's that? It's just some guy.
You didn't believe me when you're like, what did he say? I was like, he said, my wife.
That's right. What was it?
That Mr. Explain the whole
Wait,
thing. Mr.
what?
Elliot's wife was like, "Oh, I'll invite the people. I'll invite the people to the party," and then he was like, "No, my wife will, even though I don't have one yet, so I'll handle it." And you didn't believe me.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what he
right.
said.
You told me that's what he said. I was like, that sounds crazy. Who would say something like that? Sorry, I rewound it. That's exactly what he said. What was his name? Mr. Skillet?
Mr. Knightley.
Mr. Knightley,
Main-
that's it.
The main guy.
Mr. Knightley. I
Skillet?
thought it began with an S.
No.
Okay. I think those are all my thoughts on Emma.
Yeah, if you like this kind of movie, you'll like it. It was cute. The actor was good. Music was really good. We didn't. say
Music's
that.
great. Honestly, the
Music was
music
good.
might make this movie a 5.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna rate it a little higher, like a 6.
Really?
For what it is. Like,
Think
that's
without the
thing.
music. Is it like it's a
Oh.
4?
I thought the
Would it be
music
good?
Would have been really bad.
Is it a 5 without the music? I don't think so, dude. Maybe. It's somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah, 4 to 6. It's hard
The
to
music
say.
gives it a point up.
Yeah.
Music was really good.
Mhm.
But it's not. I feel like a 6 I should have a little more going on.
Yeah.
Pretty lame. Maybe like a 5.
I think we gave Little Women a 4, but we were so mad at it.
You're so mad at it. And we did like this like a touch better, I think, than Little
I
Women.
think we had more fun with it, but again, like, circumstances were different.
That's right.
And Little Women was getting nominated for Oscars.
That
and
made
we-
us hate it
we
more.
had like a lot of expectations for it, and it was
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig, who we love, from Lady Bird, and
Yeah.
all the Saoirse,
Saoirse, all of them.
Timothy.
And
Emma.
I was super interested in that world.
Yeah.
Like even like the front cover is just like I want to know everything about all of them.
Yeah, so it's like the potential of Little Women kind of hurt it, where this has less potential in
Interesting.
general, so it like didn't disappoint as much.
Oh,
Alrighty.
both based on novels too. So they both had that messiness of like let's try and make a novel into a movie, and you leave out
Yeah.
all the like all
Yeah.
of what gives it life.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this one.
Yeah.
Thanks,
you
everyone.
for watching. Hope quarantine's treating you well.
Oh yeah.
We've watched a lot of movies. We might go back and review them.
We're gonna be reviewing more of our quarantine movies because we don't know when theaters are opening back up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. Bye.